Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into game number 2, and FrostReD there, switching up his colors, making sure that he's got everything in check in line so that he can win the second game. He, of course, has spawned here in the top right position on Cloud Kingdom. Cloud Kingdom, a really interesting choice for a Zerg versus Protoss. Oftentimes, a lot of people will call this map Protoss Kingdom, or Cloud Protoss, or Protoss Protoss. And if you tell me, hey, I'm playing on Protoss, I'll be like, oh, you're playing on Cloud Kingdom. Cool, I'll understand that, because it is oftentimes a Protoss favored map. Now, we do have in the bottom left, he's up a game, it is Clarity Gaming's cShew. Now, of course, I just went on about how this is a Protoss favored map, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One, it's a really wide map, and it's not actually that big of a map. It's very popular right now in a lot of tournaments. It's a really solid map, but it's actually one of the smaller ones in terms of rush distances. So the Protoss player can actually just move out from his natural and actually get to your third base rather quickly compared to some other maps. And so that's one reason that it is a little bit more painful to play on this. Another one is the fourth base location, and this is the biggest one. It's this really narrow choke in this location. Makes it super difficult for a Zerg player to get aggressive against this fourth base. You can do some annoying antics from the high ground, but usually Colossus and Stalkers, which have more range than most of the Zerg units, are really going to have a good... Oh, look at that. Good thing we got that overlaid going. Thank you, Richard Conley. BB Siphon is Richard Conley, apparently. I know his name isn't Richard Conley, but hi, Richard Conley. We do have a third hatch going down here for FrostReD, and by a third hatch, I mean a natural going down. A expansion at the third, a natural at the third. Can I say that? It's his first expansion, it's his second base, and it's at the third. So as long as we got the 1, the 2, and the 3 in there, I think we are safe. But of course that's because the pylon did go down for cShew at the natural, like he would have liked to do on Tal'Darim. Meanwhile, cShew also did go for a Nexus first this time around, able to scout his opponent's base and see that the pool wasn't early. So that means that he's going to be just a little bit greedier this game, and of course on Cloud Kingdom it just takes a forge, a gateway, a pylon, and then you've got a nice little crevasse there to get units in and out, which we see cShew protecting there with a probe. First couple of Zerglings are out for FrostReD. He only makes 2 Zerglings in the early game. That's actually pretty greedy. If cShew had decided to throw down like a gateway or a cybernetics core or something here at that pylon, those 2 Zerglings would actually not be able to kill it in time, and it would be really, really annoying. But of course, we didn't see cShew do that. His pylon, or rather his probe, was hanging out over at the Xel'Naga Washdown. It was just a little bit too far to try to do something like that. Now the Zerglings are running around trying to keep an eye out, see if the probe is hiding in any of the more common locations there. Of course, the probe over here hiding instead. And we just see the Chrono Boost going down on these next. I assume we're going to see a Chrono Boost on that one soon as well. Probably in about 10 seconds there, as he does get the energy for it. As once again, this is the point in the cast that you really wish you had a co-caster, because there's just nothing happening, guys. Oh, whoa. And I'm going to milk this one, because there's not many things that happen at this point in time. It's +1 on the way, and this is a ridiculously fast +1 going before Cybernetics Core, and we actually even see a second probe getting sent out on the map for cShew. So that means that even if his opponent does scout, or rather kills off one of his probes, or gets it sent all the way back to cShew's main, then he'll feel safe. He'll say, okay, cool, there's no probe out on the map, I killed off your probe, and so now I'm safe. All I need to do is control the Xel'Naga Watchtowers, and you probably won't be able to get too aggressive. But of course, we know that is not the case. And with that crazy fast +1 here, I can't help but feel like we're going to see cShew get aggressive on that Warp Gate front. And we do see him there chrono boosting out that Cybernetics Core. We also see that he actually stopped mining gas. Oh man, I know what this build is. This is cShew's. It's the shoebox build, he likes to call it, and we're going to see it develop here. I'm not going to give you any spoilers whatsoever. A couple of Zerglings here are trying to chase down a probe up here towards the top left, but they unfortunately will not catch it. It's actually going to escape there right quick. We'll see where cShew is setting it. Looks like he's just going to hang out over in that corner for now, and the Zerglings aren't able to find it just yet. Zealot and Stalker here are pushing out onto the map, and here we go, guys. So many gateways getting added on. He's already up to 7 of them. 8 of them, and there's only more coming, and he's completely stopped mining gas. This is just a mass Zealot play, but look at this, the Roach one here going down right on time for FrostReD, and he started it at about the 7-minute 10-second mark, so it was a little bit late. But still, he is going to be able to get some roaches out, and that's really what he's going to need to deal with this mass amount of zealots. Look at these gateways, guys. There are 10 of them already here. So many zealots are going to be getting warped in. We see the proxy pylons here going down. He's even got another one here. So while he's actually warping in zealots and assaulting this third base, he can always warp in some more zealots over here under the natural and send them in to just harass the drones, kill off the queen, stop reinforcements. Now here comes cShew. He still hasn't restarted mining that gas. Just so many zealots here will get warped in mere seconds as this warp gate technology does finish, and here they come. First couple there do get warped, and he's actually got to be a little bit careful. He doesn't have a ton of pylons right now. There he does start one up again, and oh no, cShew there not able to warp in as many zealots as he wanted. There come the next ones. He will get a queen down, which is always fun, and meanwhile there's a lot of roaches on the way. I'm actually a little bit worried here for my teammate cShew. Zealots continuing to get warped in, but the roaches are starting to pop out. The spine crawler here is not going anywhere. Oh man, these +1 zealots though are chewing right through these units. Now the roaches that are rallying out are almost dying before they can do anything. The pylon, of course, is so close by that the zealots are getting right in, and aha, that's why he wasn't able to get enough zealots out, because he actually sent a couple of them over here into his opponent's natural. We see he has killed off 4 drones here total. Meanwhile, at this third, the drones are evacuated. Roaches here are trying to make their way over to defend, but the hatchery here getting focus fire down, and of course the natural hatchery is very low as well. So there the zealots will take down that third. They're going to pull back here quickly so that they don't have to deal with the broodlings, but now they go for the attack once again. The Zerglings are trying to take down that pylon, but unfortunately these are +1 zealots, so they just kill Zerglings so quick, and the pylon won't even go down, and even if it did, there's so many extra bases already, and oh man, here come 3 more zealots into the natural, and the hatchery here will follow those +1 zealots, just doing too much damage. And even at this point, if his opponent does hold off this attack, he is down to just 1 single hatchery. It's going to be so tough for him to get back into this game, and we do see cShew starting to mine that gas once again, starting to produce those probes here, because he does want to transition out of this. The zealots, though, are still doing a heck of a lot of damage. They're actually going to perhaps try to focus fire down this hatchery and stop it from going up once again, and we do see that even more zealots here are still getting warped in, and I feel that just because the hatcheries are down, the production of the Zerg player is just so low that if cShew would have continued making zealots, he would have probably overran his opponent, but that's a probably that he doesn't have to take. It's a risk he doesn't have to take. And he can instead just pull back. We see he's going for that robotics facility now. He's going to be nice and safe behind this wall. He's mining from all 4 gases. And his opponent, I mean, it says it right. Actually, the income tab, that isn't too bad. A lot of long-distance mining here happening for FrostReD. But we see he's down about 900 minerals per minute, whereas his opponent cShew up at about 1,300 there consistently. And oh, that's actually a little greedy here play from cShew, taking his third base. He's really only got zealots in like 1 sentry. Make that 2 sentries right now to defend, so he does have to be rather careful, because his opponent was making roaches there all through the end of that attack to make sure he could clear everything up. So he's actually got a decent roach count out right now. 13 roaches versus 8 zealots and 2 sentries. But we do see more sentries getting warped in, and the robotics facility now is done. So Immortals here getting chrono boosted out, but cShew still needs to buy just a bit of time. The real tricky part here for FrostReD is going to be engaging up into this choke, and the zealots there are charging down. Force fields do go down, and most of the roaches here do get trapped, and that allows the zealots here to engage without getting kited, I guess I should say. And there's still more sentries here. It looks like he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 force fields total, so 1, 2, 3 force fields is actually all you need on this ramp, so he is more than fine, and we see the roaches there do have to fall back. Now, in the intervening time, we have seen FrostReD take back those extra bases, even put up a macro hatch. I really do love that. Since he lost so much production from losing 2 of his hatcheries, he really needs to get a macro hatch down as quickly as possible to get that going again. He is up to 73 drones to the 50 probes of his opponent, so right now he's actually not in a terrible situation all in all here. 3 base to 3 base, but a lot more drones here for FrostReD than for cShew. The area that FrostReD's a little bit behind on, though, is tech. Right now he's getting that glial reconstitution, +2 missile attacks, +1 carapace. Even metabolic boost is only just going up right now, but he has no infestation pit. He doesn't have even a spire, so he really has no tech, and that means that this kind of zealot sentry immortal composition is going to be a really solid army to fight against just pure roaches. It's all going to come down, though, to the force fields of cShew. Will his sentries get those crucial force fields in so that the roaches don't just roll over this army? And look at that, cShew still has a pylon left over from his previous attack, and that's why he's feeling comfortable here going for this attack right now. And here he comes. He's actually going to get right up close to that hatchery, and that's so painful here for those roaches as we see the force fields go down there, and now the hatchery is getting force fielded, or rather focus fired down, but here come the roaches from the back, and actually at least an immortal here is going to go down. We see some force fields trying to fall to protect this army, but that was a great flank. Oh, one more force field needs to go down, and indeed it does. Great job there by cShew, but he's now out of force field, so he's trying to fall back, but the roaches, they've got glial reconstitution. They're charging forward. These sentries are such expensive units to lose at this stage of the game, and it looks like cShew's unfortunately going to lose all of them. He's trying to buy some time there with his stalkers to allow some of the sentries to escape. Meanwhile, back at home, throwing down tons of photon cannons so that he can try to hold this 3rd base here, because it is key for him to hold that 3rd base. Right now, he's got the income advantage despite being a little bit down in the harvester count because he focuses his opponent's 3rd base, and he needs to keep this base alive. Now, we do have 1 sentry actually making it all the way back home there for cShew, so he managed to save 1, but this is a lot of roaches here coming for FrostReD, and cShew, he's got to be careful. He's putting down some pylons and gateways to try to protect these cannons just a little bit more. Tons of sentries getting warped in, but he really needs some immortals as well, and he's only got 1 of them right now. Force fields go down, but they aren't the best. A lot of roaches here do get up close and personal, starting to take down some of those stalkers, and roaches coming around the side, just focusing down those pylons, and these cannons, unfortunately, are going to be out of power here soon. There's only 1 pylon powering all of them right now. The sentry's trying to throw down some force fields to keep these roaches out of here, and meanwhile, this 1 immortal here getting some good hits in on those roaches, and finally, the roaches will fall back for now. Lots more units here getting warped in, but there's a lot more roaches getting rallied out across the map as well. The 2nd immortal here should be coming. No. Oh no, he didn't continue immortal production. He missed his 2nd cycle of immortal, so he's still only going to have 1 immortal here. And meanwhile, the roaches are coming on 2 fronts. There's some coming at the 3rd base, some trying to push up into the natural. We see that cShew is trying to split up his army to deal with this, but oh no, the roaches, they get too close. No force field energy on these sentries, and I think that's going to do it here. cShew, despite taking down his opponent's 3rd base and natural, these roaches here are just too strong, and cShew losing all of those sentries and immortals up here at the top part of the map. He didn't have the appropriate force fields, and his opponent did get a good flank as well, and it's just too much. The roaches now getting right in there. The immortal pops out, but it's a little bit too little, too late, and now with the last of the units going down here, cShew, I think, is going to have to GG here. He doesn't have anything. He's got no army units. 1 zealot is somewhere doing something, but it isn't saving this base. Sentries here are up on the main ramp. They're going to try to just box some of these units out using those force fields, but the natural here is going to go down, and even if he continues force fielding here at that main ramp, these roaches, they can move over to that 3rd base. There aren't enough photon cannons to defend, and with cShew on 1 base, which is basically mined out here in the main, and with his opponent up to 4 bases here, I just don't think he's going to be able to do it. Looking at the production tab, we see that there's no burrow, there's no tunneling claws, so cShew can pretty much stay in his base here for as long as he chooses to, but I don't know if that is going to quite be enough. So there, the last remnants of the 3rd base are cleared up. Most of the probes here did survive. They might try to go build a nexus in some random location and get mining again. Natural did get started, but is immediately force canceled there by FrostReD. Here he comes up that ramp. Of course, there the force field does go down with the immortal at the top. The roaches will pull back, but there's not much here that cShew can do. To push out that ramp, he is going to need to mine more resources, unfortunately. He's only got about 140 there, 70 there, so 200 minerals plus the 378 he's got. So he can build, what, maybe 2 more immortals and a couple sentries here. And unfortunately, I just don't think that's going to be enough to deal with these roaches. Meanwhile, though, we do see probes here going on the offensive. They're trying to focus fire down this natural. The queen here does have a lot of energy for transfuses, but it looks like she's going to die before she uses any of it. But it doesn't matter because Zerglings and roaches come forward and they're going to go after the probes. So we do see there some nice force fields go down, but it just doesn't matter. The roaches here are able to move forward. The force field doesn't go down in time, and there's the GG by cShew. FrostReD here actually going to tie up the series 1-1.